Good afternoon and welcome to our live stream, all about student life at Montfort University. Deciding on which university to study can be a difficult decision, so we hope this live stream gives you an insight into what you can expect from studying with us. I'm Adam from the social media team here at DMU, and to give you the best possible experience this afternoon, we've arranged for 3 students to join us to share their own experiences of not only studying at DMU, but living their life in Leicester. Let's introduce them. So we're going to start by introducing Ashley today. Good afternoon, Ashley.
Hi Adam, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. Are you?
I'm not too bad, thank you.
Brilliant. And we've got Barnaby.
Hello, it looks like my mic was off.
There we go. Technical difficulties already.
I'm a third-year drama student.
Thank you, Barnaby. And finally, we've got Hannah.
Hello, yes, I'm Hannah, and I've just recently graduated in criminology with psychology.
Brilliant. So a good mix of students with us today to hopefully give you plenty of information to find out what studying at DMU is like and what student life is like in general. So we'll kick things off. So we're going to start off with, why did you choose DMU? So I'm going to go to Ashley. I'm going to go to you first on that one.
So I am actually an international student. I am from Kenya, and when I was doing my applications, Leicester seemed like a good idea because I've got family here. And when I was looking, there were only 2 universities, but DMU was one that UCAS at that point, and I'm now talking 6 years ago, wasn't a part of it. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to go here because this looks like a good uni. And it just happened. And you know what, it was the best decision I made.
Fantastic. So what about you, Barnaby? Why did you choose DMU?
Well, I chose DMU because I decided that I didn't just want to go to drama school just to become an actor. I wanted to be like a rounded practitioner. I wanted to be able to develop my writing and my directing and actually making theatre work. And this is something which, coming to DMU, you're able to choose which modules are going to tailor best to your experience and to become the type of creative or individual that you want to become.
Brilliant. And what about you, Hannah?
Yeah, so I'm in the same boat as quite a lot of people who were trying to choose university. I had no idea where to start. I had no idea what I was looking for. But then one of my friends mentioned De Montfort, and I thought, oh, that actually sounds really posh. So I'm going to try it. And I went to an open day, and as soon as I stepped foot on campus, I knew it was the right place for me because the campus is beautiful. Everybody around is so friendly and helpful. I think I knew it was the place I wanted to be when I first met the woman stood in the car park, you know, because she was so helpful. And seeing all the facilities and meeting all the students was just really the cherry on top. So that's why I chose DMU.
Fantastic. Thank you. Some great answers from all of you there. So what I want to know as well is, how did you know it was the right uni for you? Hannah, you've already touched on it there, but if you go into a little bit more detail, we'll go back to you first, Hannah.
Yeah, so during that particular open day, I went to speak to the module leaders and went to the course talks. And originally I was going to apply for psychology with criminology, so the other way around. But when I went to a course talk, I realised that it was actually the criminology part that was more suited to me. And I spoke to somebody at the open day, and switching around was so easy. It was just one email and then it was done. So I would definitely recommend getting in contact with some of your module leaders and tutors that work at the university and have a chat to them about how the modules are taught, what is in those modules, and then you'll know that the course is right for you from that.
Fantastic. And what about you, Ashley?
So I think for me, I did have a relative who had actually studied at DMU about 20 odd years ago, and they had briefly spoken to me about it, and I looked it up and I was like, okay, so because I did law for my undergrad, I was like, they are catering to the kind of modules I am looking for, and I have had good recommendation already. So I think with me, it was an amalgamation of a lot of it, the good specs that I needed for the course. I had a relative who had recommended it, and I do have family in Leicester, so it just all came together for me.
Brilliant. And you, Barnaby?
Yes, for me, I'm a bit like Hannah. It was actually how lovely everyone was every time I came to campus. I'm from Leicester, so I'd kind of been bits and bobs that kind of here and there, and I've been to open days as well. I really got the sense kind of coming here that when they would say that the lecturer's doors are always open and that there's always support available, that this was one of the few unis where that was actually meant. This was something that it wasn't just something for the open day, but actually people are really friendly. And that's important to me because I don't want to kind of be going into class every day with lecturers that I'm scared of or anything, because I know I'm not going to make the best work in that environment. And it's been so nice to actually come to DMU and see that's been the case.
Lovely, thank you guys, really good answers there. And for students potentially going to be coming to DMU in September, why Leicester? What's Leicester got to offer? So I'm going to come back to you first, Barnaby.
Leicester has so much to offer. It's incredibly diverse, which I love. I kind of forget how diverse it is until I step outside of Leicester and I'm like, oh, look, I feel like I'm the only person outside. But that's amazing. Especially when going on, I've been on a DMU global trip, and I didn't know anyone else that much on the trip, so it was kind of really a brand new group of people, but we were all from different cultures and backgrounds, and it was just so interesting getting to meet those different types of people, having different conversations and really getting an insight into people's life, not just the people on your course that you kind of talk to every day, but actually getting a real sense of kind of other people's experiences.
Lovely. And you, Ashni?
So Leicester, because just to reiterate what Barnaby has said, it's such a diverse city and it is so central as well. Getting to other places like Birmingham, Nottingham, London, it's so easy and it's so culturally rich as well. You've got Indian restaurants and Chinese restaurants and everything's so accessible and, just immediately available, which I absolutely love.
And you, Hannah?
Yeah, I would agree with the other two, what they've said. I just absolutely love how diverse the city is. I believe Narber Road, which is 2 or 3 minutes walk from the centre of campus, that's one of the most culturally diverse streets in the whole of the UK. And you can definitely see it. There's so many different people from different backgrounds. And like Barnaby said, it's great having those new conversations. And also Leicester is a city, but it's small. Everything's all compact into one place, which I really like. Because I don't want to walk far to go to the shop because I'm lazy. And having the DMU campus in the centre of the city as well, it's rare for a university campus to be that central. So you could literally walk 5 minutes up the road and you're in the middle of the town, which is amazing.
Brilliant, thank you guys. And although the student life's really important, a lot of people come to university to get a degree essentially. So I'd like to know from all of you guys, what do you think to the teaching at DMU? Are the academics supportive? So Hannah, I'm going to come back to you first on that one.
Yeah, the academics are really supportive. From my 3 years at DMU, I've formed quite close relationship with my lecturers. And as Barnaby said, their doors are genuinely always open. So unless they're teaching, they are always in their office and you're able to have a chat with them, not only about the work, but other things as well, which I think is really important, having that's those staff around you and those people around you that can support you through all aspects of university life. And also in the sense of pastoral stuff as well, DMU have an amazing welfare team, Healthy DMU, and they are absolutely incredible and will answer any kind of questions you have.
Lovely, thank you. And Barnaby, what about you?
Yes, again, I completely agree with Hannah. The lecturers here are so supportive. And again, like she said, it's not just about having conversations about the work, but actually they genuinely care about how we are, particularly in lockdown. My lecturers they'd always ask me how I was, but not just kind of as the general, oh, how are you? We'd actually spend some time having a conversation, talking about how things are kind of with the whole situation. I had quite a stressful personal situation and my lecturers were really helpful with the whole thing. And there was actually a point when it kind of all exploded and became really difficult for me, but my lecturer genuinely we spoke for about half an hour just about all of that before we actually dove into my dissertation and all of that. So it's really nice that our lecturers just genuinely care about us. And then the other thing with the lecturers is that people forget that DMU is a TEF Gold Teaching for Excellence Framework University. And I think like sometimes it just sounds like a fancy title, but like coming to DMU, I feel like I've actually seen that, particularly across lots of modules, but one module in particular in my devising in my second year, I got a high 2-1 in my first exam piece, but then my lecturer kind of sat me down and told me how much like she believed in me and that I could like go and could get a first in the next project, and she kind of like gave me resources and kind of showed me, you know, tried to help, worked with me to help me get there. But then I actually did end up getting a first, and then a first overall in the module, and a first overall across the year. So actually being able to see that whole development, like it really does show how good the teaching and the support is.
Lovely, thank you, Barnaby. And Ashley, try and beat that. Some very vivid explanation there from Barnaby about his experience.
I'm gonna struggle with that one, but you know, it goes on to show that, you know, when you've got 3 people from different faculties pretty much saying the same thing, it's not just specific to one faculty, because you know you've got arts, and then I'm from business and law, and I'm on my 3rd degree now at DMU, and a major reason for that is the support system I've got from the staff. The teaching is excellent, and we don't just say that because I wouldn't be doing 3 degrees otherwise, but it's not just the academic stuff. It's what you know, Hannah said. You've got a support system. You've got DMU welfare. You know, you're assigned personal tutors who are there to, you know, talk to you about stuff that's not just related to your course, but your mental health, which is so important as well. And yeah, you know what they've both already said. We've got amazing staff at DMU throughout.
Great, thank you, guys. And for students coming to DMU, obviously they're coming from college or from sixth form. Can you guys talk about the transition from school learning to university learning? Obviously, it's a big step, and it's something that people will be quite anxious about. So hearing from you guys how you transitioned will be really useful. So Hannah, I'm going to come to you first on that.
Yeah, so obviously sixth form to university, it's very, very different. However, I found personally with my sixth form that they did try and get us into independent study. So that's kind of the main thing with university. It's independent study. The majority of it is. In my first year, I only had about 9 hours of contact time. So that's time that's spent in lectures and seminars. And the rest of the time is independent learning. So having that transitioning between those two things can be tough. And that's exactly what your first year is for. All of the lecturers know that you have very little experience in independent learning. So first year is all about weaning you in, getting you used to the university learning style. And that is why for the majority of courses, if not all courses, don't actually count your first year grades towards your whole degree grade, which kind of takes the pressure off a little bit. And also moving as well. So a lot of people will be moving to university. So that's another thing to think about as well. Living on your own, you can't ask your mum or your parent or your sister to clean your room. You can't ask them to do your cooking. You can't ask them to do your laundry. So that's another thing to bear in mind as well. But going to university is honestly the best decision I've ever made, because you get to learn those independent skills as well as having an amazing time on your course.
Brilliant, great answer, Hannah. So Ashley, what about you?
So it's what Hannah said. I actually am an international student, so for me it was not just transitioning from college to university, but it was actually transitioning between 2 different cities as well. You know, so I had to familiarize myself with the geography, you know, just directions, how to use a bus, you know, the train system, and it's all simple things which obviously people who are from within here would be aware about. But what I'd say is, while you've got your summer break going on, maybe just do a little bit more research on things like, you know, just read some maps, just look at, you know, DMU's where it is, where it's located, things like that. And they do give out information on Blackboard prior to your beginning date. So maybe just have a look at that, because what Hannah said, it is independent learning. So as much as our lecturers are amazing, a lot of the onus then now is on you. So maybe just put in that little bit of effort and it will be worth it in the end, I promise. And
Barnaby, finally to you.
Yes, again, I completely agree, especially with everything that Hannah was saying about it is a transitional period, and the lecturers understand that. If anyone saw my Instagram takeover yesterday, then you would have seen that actually in my first year, the first essay I had was actually only 500 words long, which is tiny. And then as we went through the year, we actually begun to get so frustrated with how, well, not how small the essays were, because they were big essays, we 3,000-4,000 word essays, but we get frustrated that we were limited because we just had so much to say, because we were really kind of built up. And again, with the pre-reading as well, it's really not, they're not just throwing loads at you. They want to give you pre-reading that is specific, that is going to really help us and our projects. So it really only for us began with kind of 1 or 2 pages of pre-reading, and then it kind of gradually built up. But then even kind of moving into our second and third year, as our lecturers began to get to know us a lot more, they would send an email us individually, or just with the small groups of people, pre-reading or bits of material which would really help us as individuals. They wouldn't send it to everyone. I think that's really helps. You never really feel like what you're doing just irrelevant. So like, yes, it is hard. Like, it is a hard transitional period, but like Hannah said, most courses, the first year is only formative, which does give you that opportunity to mess up or struggle, and just get used to university life. That's what it's there for, so that when you can learn from that, and in your second and third year, really go for it.
Great, thank you, guys. So there's plenty of opportunities to get involved in extracurricular activities at DMU, and whether that be volunteering or societies or sports teams. I want to know what you guys have been involved in. So who wants to go first on this one?
I can go. So, other than our academics, I think DMU is so diverse with what it offers in terms of just societies. And that is the one thing I will emphasize on the most. Like, all of my friends that I'm now constantly in touch with are actually the friends I made from my societies, because, you meet once a week, you've got socials that you're doing with them, you're doing trips with them. So I think that is the best way to even make friends as well. Just join societies, because it's a good way to diversify your portfolio. At the end of when you graduate, whatever hours you've put in, you can put in onto a report that the university gives you, that you can then give to your employer, which sets you apart from your contemporaries, because you've not just got good grades, you've done things like being a part of the society, doing volunteering work. So that's the one thing I would recommend. And other than that, we've got DMU Global, we've got DMU Local. There's always so much happening on campus, and the most I can say is just make sure that you participate in things like this, because that is the one thing you will actually remember from your degree.
Great, thank you. And you, Barnaby?
Yes, absolutely. I completely reiterate, just take part in the opportunities that are here, because there's so many. I actually learned Spanish as just like a side, kind of like a hobby, but I had 2 hours a week every week learning Spanish, with different people from all different courses, even lecturers. We had one of the lecturers from midwifery who was just doing it because she wanted to learn it as well, but that was a great opportunity for us to learn the language. And then we actually were, through DMU Global, were then able to go to Spain and test out kind of what we had learned from class, and actually get out like in Spain and speak to real people. But then there's so many DMU Global opportunities. I went to New York in my third year, so look out for that as well. And you do eventually get there. So I was able to go to Broadway and do all these things that it's so like expensive, and kind of like it's mind blowing to like even think about, if you were to try and do all of these things yourself, like it will cost so much more. So honestly, like when you're here, it's just taking as many opportunities as you can. There's placements, there's volunteering, there's so much, and I completely agree. That's what you're going to remember from the studies.
Brilliant. And Hannah, what extracurricular activities and opportunities did you get involved in while studying at DMU?
There's so much you can get involved in. So one of my main things is that I was a student ambassador throughout my whole 3 years. And that meant that I worked part-time for the university, and I supported school visits. So that could be children from the ages of 11 right through to 18, teaching them all about university. And through that, I met so many amazing people who I would call my closest friends. And then we made a society last year, so you could probably see my little society hoodie just there. And that was a really great way of getting out of my studies and meeting new people and making new friends. I was also a part of committees for the Criminology Society, Demon FM, our student radio station, and also the Music Society as well. So all sorts of different interests, all sorts of different people. DMU Global is another thing I'd really recommend. I actually organised the DMU Global trip for the Music Society in my second year. So a group of 16 of us went out to Poland, and it was an absolutely incredible experience. And the university were there every step of the way supporting me with that. And yeah, I will remember that forever. So one of the things I always say to people on open days is just say yes. If you're sat there thinking about an opportunity, oh, I'd kind of like to do it, shall I do it? The best advice I can give is just say yes, because you'll find that you meet amazing new people and you'll have memories that last a lifetime. That's so cliche, but it's true.
Amazing, thank you. So students will be coming to campus and they'll want to be studying in beautiful surroundings. So we're pretty proud of our campus, but I want to know what you guys think about campus. So Barnaby, I'm going to come to you first on this one.
Our campus is great. One of the great things about it is that it's all together. You don't need to be going off like getting different trains or buses to like other buildings across the city, because it's all in one place. And of course that means if you have friends on other courses or in different modules, you can very easily meet up with them. The library is available 24 hours a day, like literally all the time. So people can, if you get students who love to do all-nighters, or people who like, me and my best friend would always just kind of sit in the library all day, would then filter between that and go into our classes and the rehearsal spaces and things. And the rehearsal spaces are really new and improved. They've got some new raked seating and like a proper studio space. There's a black box theatre space, and in all of the theatre and dance studios, all of like the lighting and sound rigs and things, all that equipment is the exact same as what you'll find in the professional theatres in like all across the country and all institutions, which means that when you actually go and work in those areas, you're going to know what you're doing. And that's not just me kind of saying that. Like, I did a placement at Curve as the assistant director on Memoirs of an Asian Football Casual, and that was an amazing experience, which was a placement I got through DMU, and that runs every year. But then when I went and we got to tech rehearsals, like I could actually be helpful. I could actually give my opinion and know what was going on, because we were using the exact same equipment as what we use in all of our tech rehearsals at uni.
Brilliant. And that's really useful that you get those hands-on experience while you're at DMU, and then you can literally go straight into the industry and have the knowledge and skills to be able to do it. So that's brilliant. Thank you for that, Barnaby. Ashley, what about you?
So yeah, we actually do have a really pretty campus, and I say this from, even because one of the degrees I did was investigative journalism, and that made me focus on just how you'd film and things like that. And you've got like the Queen's building, which is so like historic looking. It's got stone and stuff, and then on the other side you've got the complete opposite. So you've got the business and law building, which is all like glass and very modern looking. So it's not just one particular kind of looking building, which is nice when you're walking from one class to another. And what Barnaby said, it's so close knit. It doesn't take me 20-30 minutes to get from one building to another. And other than when you're not in your classes, which are obviously well equipped with everything, our sound system during lectures is amazing, screens, all of it is the best quality that you can get. But when you're even having your recreational moments, so you can stay outside the Riverside Cafe and it's overlooking the River Soar, or you've got the Vijay Patel building, which has recently been built, and you have an amazing view from up there, some of the best sunsets in Leicester, I'd say. So yeah, we've got such a beautiful campus, and you know what, the 3 years or 4 years at uni will be worth it because the campus is pretty.
Amazing. And you, Hannah?
Yeah, the one word I choose to describe the DMU campus is Instagrammable. So if you follow DMU on Instagram at DMU Leicester, you can see how amazing the campus does look. And like Barnaby and Ashley, I really appreciate how there's modern buildings and really funky kind of designs, and then you go out towards the more traditional buildings. So the Trinity buildings, which is on campus, that they were built in like the 1300s or something. So really old buildings, but they look absolutely stunning. And we're really lucky with the facilities we have on campus as well. We've got the Riverside Cafe, like Ashley said, which is one of my favourite places to go. We've also got the 24-hour library as well, which is good for all-nighters if you're that kind of person that would do that. And the campus centre, the student union, is also right bang in the middle, obviously because it's called the campus centre. So you've got so many places to go on campus, and everything you need is just on your doorstep.
Brilliant, thank you. Which brings us on nicely to accommodation. So what I want to know, guys, is did you stay in uni accommodation when you came to us in your first year? And also, how close is the accommodation to campus and getting around? So Barnaby, you first.
I didn't actually stay in uni accommodation myself because I'm from Leicester. But then all my experiences with kind of like, you know, I've been for like rehearsals or just gone around friends and stuff. And so there is actually accommodation which is literally on campus. If you want, you can, that, you know, we would have people that would literally wake up and 5 minutes later they're in class because it's that close. And it's the accommodation really is all around the campus, and it's for, again, from all my experiences of kind of being there, it seems really nice and really modern, I think, which is really nice, is that you kind of go and you're not kind of in these old buildings, or you would like, they're not like, you would never worry that there was like a ghost in your accommodation or anything like that. They're all kind of really newly renovated, like the campus.
Amazing. And you, Hannah?
Yeah, so I had a bit of an accommodation hiccup in my first year. I stayed in private accommodation, but and then something went wrong with that. So DMU kind of went, we got you, and I got a studio flat in the Glassworks, which is just across from the Hugh Aston building. And the Glassworks is absolutely stunning, and I absolutely loved my time there. And since then I lived in private accommodation, so had my own flat for the final year. So there's so many options you can have with accommodation as well. So obviously you can live in a flat of 4 other people that you've never met before, and that's a really great way of making friends. Or you can do the same as me, get a studio flat where you just live on your own and your kitchen is in your bedroom. And one of the most exciting things about that was watching pizza cook. I just sat on my bed on the first night and watched it. It was, the novelty wore off after a while, but that was still exciting. And then you can get a house with your friends in your second and third year, or you can continue in student halls if that's what you want to do. So you've got so many options and so many different locations as well to fit all types of budgets. So make sure you go onto the website and have a good look. Most accommodations offer 360-degree tours, so you can have a look around your room. And yeah, I'd really recommend you do that.
Thank you. And Ashley, finally to you on that one.
Yeah, so like Barnaby, I've actually lived at home, which was still a different experience for me, considering I'm not from England. But again, because DMU is so central, like my walk from my house to uni, it takes me about 20 minutes, which isn't really long considering you'd call it the other end, because I live on the Golden Mile, which is, known for its jewelry shops, its Indian curry houses, and uni's like, in the center. So it takes me about 20 minutes to get to uni. But even though I've not lived at student accommodation, I spent a lot of my time there because that's where my friends have lived, and just to reiterate what both of them have said, it is definitely a good experience because that's where you make your friends as well, not just friends you meet on your course, but those that are outside of your course. And it helps in, gaining that independence because you're cooking yourself, you're, making sure you're waking up to go to your lectures, even if it means 5 minutes before your lecture. So yeah, I would, if I could, that's the one thing I would change. If I could redo my uni journey, I probably would live out just for a year at least, just to gain that part of experience.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate that. So how easy is it to make friends when you come to university? So again, this is something that students will be anxious about when they come to university. So they'll be leaving their friends at home, they'll be leaving their families. They may feel homesick within the first couple of weeks. So how do they combat that, and how do they make friends? So, Hannah, you first.
Yeah, I'd say societies are like the main way of making friends. So as I said earlier, I was a part of many societies throughout my time at DMU, and from each society, I've got a group of really close friends and people that I know I will stay in touch with for the rest of my life, really. And also maybe getting a job as well while you're at university is really useful, because then you've got your work colleagues, and of course you've got your course mates as well, so it's really easy to make friends. But for feelings of homesickness, I would recommend making your accommodation room your own. Bring some nice pillows or some fairy lights or some framed photos. It does sound really basic, but it does really help with combating feeling homesick. And of course, since these times of COVID, we've all learned how to use Skype and FaceTime and stuff, and that's really important as well, to make sure that you're still talking with your family regularly while you're in university.
And Barnaby?
Yes, I completely understand like the worry behind this question, because like I'm such a shy person. So when I came to uni, like this, I was terrified about this, and like I'm not the kind of person that is gonna be loud and instantly kind of going around making connections and friends with everyone. But I would say, a bit like what Hannah was saying, just say yes is a perfect motto for not only the opportunities but for making friends, because everyone's in the same boat, and there will be people who will suggest things or that will invite you to things, and just say yes to that. Some of my closest friends and still now are the people that I went to on Halloween. I got invited to just spend Halloween with them and go around their flat, and none of us really knew each other that well. I think there was like two people that kind of roughly knew each other, and then the other two of us were kind of like roped in through like we were friends of friends. But then they became the people that I really hung out with kind of for mostly at uni, and we became really good friends. But then for me, it was the DMU global trips that kind of really bonded me with certain people, and really kind of made friends, even with people that, you know, even in my third year going to New York, and people that I'm already close to, but like actually kind of essentially living with people and spending like a whole week or two with these people, like it's going to bring you together and you're going to become really close. And so I really, really would suggest like take opportunities and go on DMU global trips, because that's where you're going to make friends.
Thank you, Barnaby. And Ashley, finally to you.
So I think it's a little bit of everything. I think first and foremost, I'd say is you're in the same boat as everybody else, because you've got an influx of new students and they're all feeling the same way. So it's not just you. So you know what, as hard as it might be, because I actually joined uni about 2 weeks late, so I missed Freshers Fair, which is, you know, your best opportunity right at the start of the year to make that. Or even if you're in during freshers, or you know, in that situation, just reach out and be like, hey, you know, I'm Ashni, what's your name? And you'll realize it's really not as hard as it seems. It can be intimidating, but you just need to speak, you just need to make that first move. But other than that, you've got your DMU ambassadors who are on campus throughout. You've got your DMU staff who you can speak to, and you know, they can pinpoint you to what you need to do if you're struggling to make friends. You've got my uni pals, you've got DMU buddy, you've got all these schemes that happen. But other than that, what, you know, Barnaby and Hannah said, join societies. I cannot emphasize how important joining a society has been for me, because my first month when I came here, I was homesick. I was like, I don't like it here, I have no friends. And then I came across the DMU Leicester, Facebook page, and DMU Bollywood at that point had put up a post, and I joined, and it was no looking back. After that, I've been on DMU Salsa, DMU Hip Hop. But so you've got societies, you've got your uni pals, you've got your fresher reps. I'd also say, other than your DMU global trips, do volunteering as well, because you're put in circumstances where you are forced to talk to each other. You have no option. So when you're spending, say, an entire day volunteering, doing something, you're not only doing a good thing, but you're talking to somebody and you're interacting. And I feel like that's the best way to, talk to somebody. So it's what they both said. Just say yes and make that first move.
Thank you very much. So we've got a few questions left we want to go through before we end this stream today. Hopefully everyone who's tuned in is finding it useful. So what I want to know from you guys now is, we've talked about Leicester already, but how easy is it to get around? You talked about why you chose Leicester. A lot of people choose Leicester because it's a pretty central city, but what else is there about Leicester that makes it a great place to come and live, not only study, but come and live? So Ashley, you first.
So obviously right at the start, what I'd said was it's pretty central. So even if you're looking to go to Nottingham, London, Birmingham, Coventry, it is, the train station again is so close to uni. It's about 15 minutes from uni, 15-20 minutes. So you can take a train, and the bus station isn't far either. It's just like 5 minutes down the road. So you've got the coach station that's so easily accessible. That's if you want to go outside and explore all these other cities. But even within Leicester, my biggest discovery was Bradgate Park. It's such a beautiful park. You've got a deer sanctuary there, and we have such beautiful parks, just in general. You've got Abbey Park, and we've obviously got the King Power Stadium. You've got, and other than that, I think the most important thing for me has been the restaurants we have. We have so many restaurants. Like, you could probably eat outside every day and still not finish all the restaurants we've got in Leicester. So I'd say, like, just the diversity and how easily accessible everything is. That's definitely something I love Leicester for.
Great, thank you, Ashley. In terms of Leicester, in terms of people going out and getting out on walks and that kind of thing as well, obviously it's surrounded by countryside and it's sort of pretty easy to get to. Have you had much opportunity to experience that?
Yeah, definitely. Like, starting with just uni, because we've got Castle Gardens, which is just there, and we've got obviously the Business Castle building, which again has so much history to it. And just walking around, like, you can walk from uni and just realize that suddenly you're like by King Power Stadium, and you're like, there's all of that history that it brings. Or you can walk to the other side and you're on the Golden Mile, and you've got all of that's got its history with it. So yeah, I'd say it's pretty easy and diverse and interesting. It's not a boring kind of walk that you do.
Thank you. And you, Barnaby?
Yes, I completely agree. Everything in Leicester is just so walkable. It's kind of crazy how, again, like Ashley, like I said, I live at home, so I walk into university kind of every day. But it's not that long. Like, it is about a 25-minute walk for me. But I do live quite far away, really. But it doesn't feel like, most of the time it's quite a nice walk, especially if the weather's all right. But also there's just so many like different pockets of Leicester which are just so lovely. So Ashley already mentioned Castle Gardens, which is like a great place. It's right on campus, but you can just go and escape there and go find a little quiet spot. If you want to work in the kind of in nature or the sunshine and all of that. Bradgate Park again is amazing. There's Victoria Park, which you can there's a place called New Walk, and there's like a museum on the side, and there's different restaurants, but it's a lovely bit to walk right up to. And there's Abbey Park, and just so many different pockets. The King Power Stadium as well, like, it's really impressive to go. You can go take a tour there. You can go. DMU are always giving away free tickets, so you could go on a match day, and as well there's always like marches, like obviously for the chairman that passed away and stuff, but also for positive things. There's always events happening in Leicester, so it's honestly just, it's so vibrant, and that it's just so many positive vibes.
Thank you. And finally, you, Hannah.
Yeah, so I moved to Leicester from Oxford, which is about an hour and a half away. But in Oxford, things are quite spread out in terms of, shops and restaurants and stuff. You do tend to have to walk quite a bit, or you have to get a bus to a certain place. But in Leicester, that's certainly not the case. So each place that I've lived in Leicester, the furthest walk away from uni has been about 10 minutes. But from that flat, I was 5 minutes away from the High Cross Shopping Centre, which is a multi-million-pound shopping centre, which has everything you can possibly need in there. So you got, the Apple Shop and JD Sports and all these different places, all the popular shopping brands, and and things like that. So that's all there. You've got loads of amazing bars and cafes and restaurants right on campus, so you can always go and visit them. And also, I'm a big music fan, so having really great music venues is really important to me. So you've got places like the Cookie, the O2 Academy, the Sound House, so many different places where you can find underground bands. It was through watching bands in Leicester that I've met amazing people and found new bands that I still listen to on the daily. So yeah, like we've all said, Leicester is such a vibrant and diverse city, and it's a really great city to go to university in.
That's great. Thank you very much. So coming on to the last question now is, I want to know what your top tips are for students joining us this September, and try and make it one tip as well. So if you could pick your top tip for a student coming this September. So I'm going to put Ashley on the spot first because she looks the most comfortable. Hannah and Barnaby look like they're trying to think.
I thought I had a good poker face. Clearly not. My top tip, is it okay if I steal Hannah's? I think I'm gonna say just say yes. I'm sorry, Hannah, if I stole yours, but it is something I'm gonna say. Just say yes. It is a lot about, balancing your time and stuff, but say yes. There's so many opportunities the university provides, and not just the university, the city itself, say yes. Say yes for freedom.
Ashley did steal my top tip. The first word that comes into my mind is relax, because now is a really nerve-wracking time at the moment, obviously, because a lot of people don't know what the next year is going to look like, but DMU have kept in touch with the students to let students know what the next year is going to look like. So please do keep an eye on the DMU Facebook and the DMU website, so you know what's going to go on, but stay calm and everything will work out. I know it's really nerve-wracking, but go out, meet those societies, even if it is through a computer screen. That's still something. And then when we are finally allowed to go out and meet each other and give each other a hug, you can say, hey, I met you online, because that's exactly what I did in my first year. One of my closest friends, who I still speak to quite often, I met him through Facebook before coming to university. So yeah, relax and stay calm and you'll have a great time. That's the best I could do at the moment.
Thank you, Hannah. And Barnaby, and end it with you.
Yeah, I completely agree with everything those two said. And I would say, in similar vein to just say yes, if you're sat on the fence about something, then you probably should do it. If there's an opportunity or a trip and you're just like, oh, like maybe I don't want to write this, I don't want to write a little application for it, or do I really want to do it? Like, just send it off. You don't even have to do these things. You can just send a little 200 word or whatever bit off, and then you can make a decision if you get it. But just go for things, there's no point kind of stressing about like every single logistic or every single detail if you don't even know whether you're going to get it or not. Maybe just apply for things and then see what comes back, and then you can make a decision as to what exactly you want to do.
Amazing. Thank you, Barnaby. So that brings us to the end of our stream today. So fantastic answers from all of you. And obviously, if you're coming to university this September, if you've already got confirmed your place and you're watching the stream, some useful insights there to what it's going to be like. If you've not yet decided on where you're going to study, hopefully this persuades you to choose DMU. So some really great insights there from Barnaby, Hannah and Ashley. So I appreciate you joining us today. And we'll be hearing from you on various other platforms throughout the next few weeks as well, as we build up to clearing. So do keep an eye out for their content. And do head back to our Instagram account from yesterday to check out Barnaby's takeover, which was great. So if you are interested in coming to DMU this September, we are open for clearing now. So the number you can call is on the screen right now. So do take a note of that, or you can find it on our clearing webpage. Just search DMU Clearing 2020. That brings us to the end of our live stream. I hope you have a great weekend. And thank you for joining us. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.